Hail, Henry. I hear you've become a daring tourney fighter. You're full of surprises.
What actually happened to you in Skalitz? I mean, during the attack and... well, you know.
That's a long story. Not a very cheerful one. Are you sure you want to hear it now?
I do.
All right, then. It was a day like any other. Another ordinary day in my ordinary life. I awoke at first light, before the others. I like those kind of mornings best. When the first rays of sunshine quickly drive away the nighttime cold. Hello, you. Come here. And the breeze carries the scent of dew-covered grass and the bloom of spring. I wanted to get my chores done before the rest of the household was up. And this morning seemed made for that very purpose. Right, better get to work. I have to feed the hens, weed the garden, feed Tinker. I'd better get it all done before Papa is up. I must bring Tinker a piece of meat. That'll be a nice treat. Here, chickie, chickie, chickie. Here you are, girls. Fill your beaks. Look what I've got for you. You'll love this. That should do it. The garden is looking how it should again.
Teresa?
What do you need, Papa?
Go up and see the blacksmith. He made some nails for me. Here's some coin.
All right. Anything else while I'm at it?
No, unless you want to stop off at the market and buy some supplies. And before you go, wake Samuel. The boy's still lying in bed and won't stir. He ought to follow your example and Stibor's. You two don't have to be pushed to work. Well, at least he's still better than that good-for-nothing Zbyszek. The lazy wretch. A helper like that isn't worth a damn. If it weren't for his father, God rest his soul, I'd have thrown him out on his ear long ago.
Now, Father, you shouldn't be so hard on Zbyszek. You know he hasn't had an easy life.
And who has, girl? That's no excuse for laziness. You could tell him to get his ass to work, too.
Right. Go for nails, send Samuel and Zbyszek to work. If it's at all possible.
Aye, just so. Oh, and Teresa, once you've done all your chores for the day, I've a little surprise for you.
Really? Now you've got me curious, Pa. I'll be on my way then. Sammy, get up. It's broad daylight and the birds are singing.
Yeah, I'm up.
Have a bite to eat before going to the mine.
All right, Ma. You don't have to treat me like a child. Looks like it'll be nice today, eh? I could go to the pond fishing.
But you have to go to work.
I know. But maybe I can slip off after lunch.
There'll be no slipping off. You know very well Nemoy has been complaining about you.
What about dropping that pail on Tonda's head? It was an accident.
Not the first accident you've had, though, was it?
Well, there you go, then. If I leave early, nothing will happen to anyone. And you can cook the fish for lunch tomorrow.
You silly sod. All you ever do at the pond is lie around. The only thing you'll catch is more trouble from the mine master when he finds out. Well, if you're not a child, you can sort it out yourself with Nemoy.
Don't I always?
Pa says you're idle, and if you carry on like that, he'll throw you out.
Ah! Why would he do that? Then he'd be left only with Stibor, and Stibor's not going to break his back working either.
Listen, Zbyszek. Pa's not happy with you, and if he says you're idling, you'd better make a bit of effort. I'm only telling you for your own good. You wouldn't want to lose your job now, would you?
You lot are always going on about work as if it was a blessing from heaven. All right. I'll get to work. Anything for a bit of peace.
That's more like it. You'll see it doesn't hurt. How are things, Matthew?
Teresa? It's unusual to see you here. Come to see the eighth wonder of the world, have you?
What would that be now?
Fritz, working. Well, that's a sight you don't see every day.
I'd say that's the pot calling the kettle black. You don't look too busy yourself.
Why overdo it? Jesus was a carpenter too, but how many beams do you think he made, eh?
Matthew, that's blasphemy.
No, it's only a harmless joke. You don't have to look at me like the parish priest did at Kunesh, when he spewed over his pew.
Ugh, don't even remind me. Well, I'd better be going. Work to do, you know.
Don't overdo it now.
God be with you.
What's new, Fritz?
I don't know. Oh, actually, I do know. There's going to be a dance this evening. Are you going?
Maybe. I've got a lot to do still.
They say it's going to carry on tomorrow too. And they'll be roasting a pig. Can't miss that.
So I heard. I wonder how come Sir Radzig allowed it.
No, it wasn't his lordship's idea. It was Master Faithfar's.
Master Tobias? Why would he do that?
I don't know. Maybe he just wants to show off his wealth. I'd have roast pig and dancing every evening if I had his coin.
They have no place there. The only use you have for paper is to wipe your ass. Books belong in the hands of your betters. Only a pitchfork belongs in yours. And tell me, what can a peasant like you know of God?
I know what the priest told me, and what do you know?
And what if the priest lies? What if the scriptures say something different? How would you know when you can only listen to what you're told like a sheep?
It's enough for ordinary people to listen, and they're fine. But you and your ilk make only trouble. Someone ought to put paid to you, and we'd have peace at last.
Like I say, you're like a wretched sheep that will go where it's told, even to the slaughter. And of God and the world you know nothing.
When has reading ever filled anyone's belly, eh? I feed a whole family with these two hands, while yours are only good for pulling your own cock.
And tell me, what can a peasant like you know of God?
I know what the priest told me, and what do you know?
What are you two quarrelling about here, for the love of God?
This pipsqueak here claims studying is as hard a job as working in the stables.
I most certainly did not, because study is of course much harder work than mucking out a bit of horse manure.
See? That's what I'm talking about, and yet it's as clear as day.
Hang on, what's as clear as day?
That study is as hard as mucking out stables, if not harder.
A man who doesn't work with his hands is an idler and a good-for-nothing. Am I wrong?
I'd like to ask you a couple of questions before answering. You're a scholar. What are you doing in Skalitz?
I'm on my way to Sassau with letters. This ingrate here is stabling my horse overnight before I continue my journey.
What does your work involve, student?
I'm no student, but a baccalaureus, having completed the trivium of the Faculty of Liberal Arts in the University of Prague. Grammar, rhetoric, and dialectics are my work, while this yokel wouldn't be capable even of learning Latin. Father arranged that I will serve as a teacher in Kuttenberg for 2 years, before returning to the university to attend the quadrivium. To teach and be taught, that is real work.
You serve Sir Radzig at the castle, don't you, Master Groom?
Aye, and Sir Radzig is very pleased with my work. I can be rightly proud of what I do, and I bring home a nice wage too. The children are fed, and the wife can buy herself a nice scarf from time to time. I'm satisfied with my lot. How many people can say that?
What's so hard about your job, Master Groom?
That's real work. Not like this parasite here does. On my feet from dawn till dusk, feeding, mucking out, grooming. By evening, I'm dead on my feet. I'm doing something real, see? Something that makes sense. Horses are needed for work, for the lords, for riding out, even in times of war. And someone has to care for those horses. All this good-for-nothing can do is mouth off. But he'd never be able to do a real job.
That's all I need to know. You're both right, but not one of you has a grain of sense. Work is work, whether it's done with your hands or your heart.
Ah, rhetoric worthy of Socrates himself, and out of the mouth of a woman. I bow to you, good maiden. The professors of Prague could learn a thing or two from you.
Are you saying this good-for-nothing here, who has to beg for his beer at the tavern, is my equal? But to hell with it, I won't argue.
How are you, Teresa? I'm honored that you should come to me.
What's new with you?
Well, I went to see Pavlena's father to ask for her hand. He hummed and hawed for a bit, but in the end he gave his blessing. He didn't offer much of a dowry, but I don't care. The main thing is I can finally be with my Pavlena. We'll be wed in the summer.
That's great. I wish you happiness.
Good health to you, Teresa. Good day to you. What do you need?
What's new in the village?
There's to be a dance this evening. Again. Can we not find some other way to enjoy ourselves for a change? Harvest Festival, Pentecost Festival, dances, church, and dances again.
What else would we do for fun?
I heard they have combat tournaments in Rattay sometimes. The men put on shining armour, and folk can watch them battering each other. That must be lovely to watch. Why can't we have something like that once in a while? After all, Sir Radzig is the royal headsman.
But for a tournament, you need knights. We don't have enough here in Skalitz.
Ah, but Sir Hanish's tourney in Rattay is even for commoners. Even our fellas could enroll there.
Oh my god, don't say that too loud. I can just imagine how my brothers would be tripping over each other to enroll.
They wouldn't be the only ones, would they? How about that Henry? He's always waving that wooden sword around like you'd think he was getting ready to go on crusade. But there's an interesting thought now. Which of our fellas do you think would win?
I don't know who'd win, and I don't much care. It's bad enough the menfolk brawling in the tavern without getting weapons into their hands.
But Teresa, it's just a bit of fun. You don't have to take things so seriously.
Anyway, enough about tourneys. I must be on my way. Take care.
Good day to you. What do you need?
Any news, Maruna?
Well, there's a peculiar fellow standing by the potters on the outskirts, selling strange trinkets, relics and the like, and he's got a peculiar talk to go with it.
Peculiar in what way?
Well, I went to see what he was selling and greeted him politely, and he started on about how I'm a pretty girl and what have you.
What's so strange about that? Fellas are always talking to girls that way if they don't wear a wife's scarf.
Ah, but that's not all. He started on about how we're different from one another, men and women like, and in a vulgar way too.
So, what did he say was the difference between men and women?
He said a woman's body is the opposite of a man's, that they've got their, you know, outside, and ours is inside. And that it's because men have more heat inside their bodies, and that pushes their things out. But we're colder, and so we've got it inside. Do you think it's true, what he says?
Yes, that makes sense.
It does, doesn't it? But I won't go investigating it.
I'd rather not say anything on the subject. Take care of yourself, Maruna.
Greetings.
What news, neighbour? I haven't seen you here much. Where are you from?
I live at a farm beyond the village. Vincent's my name. I know you, though. You're the miller's daughter, right? Your brother helped us with the harvest one year.
Right, I remember that. It was before Samuel started working at the mines.
He's in the mines? I thought he'd be working at the mill with your father.
My older brother Stebor does that. Papa doesn't think the mill pays enough to feed us all, so he got Samuel a mining job. He said it's as good a job as any. And it ought to toughen him up a bit. The mill will go to Stebor one day, and his wife, when he finds one.
And what will happen with you?
I really don't know. I've got too much work to do today to find time to think about tomorrow.
Well, it'll catch up with you sooner or later. Did you find it?
God bless. What can I help you with?
What's new with you, Antonia?
My husband keeps complaining about a cough and a running nose. With all the moaning he does, you'd think you ought to call the gravedigger. And then, in the evening, he ups and off to the tavern. Men. They get a tickle in the throat and they think they're dying.
Greetings.
But put a tankard of ale in front of them. All of a sudden, they're right as rain.
Good morning.
What's new in the village, Yarmila?
Did you happen to meet that scholar who's been wandering around here since yesterday? He told me a wonderful story from olden times when Princess Libusa ruled. You've heard about Libusa, haven't you?
No. I don't know her. Who was she?
Really? I thought everyone knew that story. She was a princess of bygone days who married a plowman, and he later became king. But she was a seer too, and she had all sorts of visions. And she founded Prague.
That's interesting. What did the scholar tell you about her?
About the Maiden's War. Would you like to hear it?
Maiden's War. That sounds like a good story. Tell me about it.
Girls were different back then. In pagan times, they could live... How did he put it? Free of the yoke of marriage. They bore arms like men and waged war. And they chose their own leader. And they even dressed like men. Can you believe it?
What happened to them?
He said they were so bold that they even built their own fortress, where no man was allowed.
They really did that themselves?
Oh, aye. And when the menfolk found out, they were envious. They came together in great numbers and built their own fortress in sight of the Maiden's one.
What? Men and women lived separately in their own castles?
They did, and they waged war on each other. The men were braver, but the women often outsmarted them.
Naturally. How did it end up?
In the end, they agreed on a truce. To celebrate peace, they feasted for 3 days, and each man took away one bride.
Oh, I was expecting it to end differently.
I'd be happier too if the women won and could grab any husband they wanted.
A pretty picture indeed. Thanks for the story. It was quite inspiring. I must be going. Our fortress is still ruled by men, and they haven't learned to clean up after themselves.
Lord watch over you, Tess.
Good day.
How come you're not at the mine, Tonda?
I did my backing, and then I sent me home. But I'd rather be back in my winch. Grab a good hold of it, and keep it turning so fast it'd make your head spin. It ain't for nothing they call me Tonda the Winch.
Easy now, Tonda. If you're not careful, that winch will be the death of you.
Dave?
What news, neighbour?
What do you want, mill wench? Did your old man send you? I paid him for his flour last week.
No, nothing like that. I was just passing the time of day.
Then go and pass it with someone else. I'm not in the mood for women's gossip. Just like my old woman, by Christ.
Where is she, anyway? Your wife, I mean. She's been away quite a long time, hasn't she?
She went to see her family. Said her brother died. What's it to you, anyway?
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Bah! She never said a word about him, and all of a sudden she goes rushing off all the way to Costalet saying he's kicked the bucket. Aye, she's been gone a long time. Far too long. Brother or no brother, I'll take my belt to her backside when she gets back. Anything else?
No, of course it's no business of mine. It's just that you mentioned her. Well, please give your good wife my regards when she gets back.
Greetings.
How are things with you, Pigman?
Pigman? I thought only the fellas at the mine called me that.
Oh, sorry. Samuel sometimes mentions you, and I suppose I got used to it. Does it bother you?
Ah, what's the difference? I'll never shake it anyway. Pickman the idiot who chopped off 2 of his toes with a pick.
That's awful. People are always getting hurt in the mines. How did it happen exactly?
Just not paying attention, I suppose. We were digging a tunnel and I simply hit my foot with a pickaxe. It went through my boot like a hot knife through butter.
That must have hurt awfully.
It hurt like hell. And now I have to stuff the tip of my boot with straw or I can't walk straight.
I'd better be going. There's lots of work to be done. Be careful now, all right?
Yeah.
God be with you.
What news, neighbour?
I'll be off to work soon. I'm taking turns with Dushek in the East Gallery. It's a tough job there. A cramped space and only one support so far. Hard going it is. That's why Nemoy is sending us in shifts.
Why aren't you resting at home if you'll be off to the mine soon?
The wife's not well, so I'm doing what I can to lighten her load. Carrying water, picking up things at the market, peeling vegetables. You know yourself.
That's very good of you.
Well, when I'm sick, I'll send her to do my job in the mine.
God grant you health. How may I help you?
How are you doing, Jane?
Huh. Have you seen that vagabond by the gate?
Who do you mean?
That stinking bugger who's always skulking around there. I swear he eyed me like a demon when I went past carrying water. There's something not right about that fella. Mark my words. The catchpole ought to send him hopping. We've no need for beggars and idle good-for-nothings in Scarlet.
You shouldn't talk about folk like that. We ought to be charitable to people in need.
Need? What he needs is to get off his lazy arse and find work.
I've seen you in Skalitz, but I've never spoken to you before.
No, not many people talk to me.
Why is that?
Why? Because I'm a stranger here, and people would rather look after their own than strangers.
Why are you begging?
I lost everything. I had a wife, a home, children. I had cattle and sheep. Then foreign soldiers came and took it all from me. They killed and burned. Only I survived.
What soldiers do you mean?
I don't know. One soldier's the same as the next. I fled far away to this peaceful land, as far as I could from the scene of my suffering.
I'll give you something. Wait.
A few groschen will do.
Here you are. At least you can get yourself a bite to eat.
Oh, thanks a thousandfold. God sees your good deed and will watch over you. Good people, don't leave me to starve. I've lost everything.
Why are you praying here?
It was here that it happened. Me and my son Božek. We were carting tree trunks from the woods, but the wagon fell into a pothole. I told Božek to put branches under the wheels, so the oxen could haul it out. Once he had it done, I cracked the whip. The beasts pulled, and then there was a terrible crashing sound. I had the timber tied down as always, but the rope must have broken under the strain, and as the wagon jerked forward, the tree trunks began to roll out of the wagon, and Božek was beneath them.
Mother of God.
When we buried him, I agreed with the bailiff to erect a cross here. I made it myself, and now I come here to pray in Božek's memory.
When did it happen?
2 years ago. I've been coming here ever since.
Do you have any other family?
A wife and 2 children. My daughter doesn't live with us. She's married to the tailor in Rattay. My son helps me with my trade.
I'm very sorry. Next time I'm in church, I'll pray for Božek too.
That's kind of you. Thank you.
I'll leave you in peace. God be with you.
Today, for the special price of only 10 groschen each.
I don't know you, unless my memory deceives me. Where are you from, and what are you doing here?
Have you not noticed? I'm saving lives. I came from far away Sassau to avert great misfortune.
My God. What misfortune?
All the misfortune of the world, my dear. For misfortune walks not over mountains, but over men. I have artifacts that will avert mine cave-ins, swarms of locusts, bloody rain, and flaming swords. Not to mention, say, unhappy love, perhaps.
Do they really work?
Have you ever seen bloody rain?
No, I haven't.
There, you see. I have remedies for all woes, and an answer for everything.
Maybe that kind of talk might invoke those woes.
Have you ever heard it said that no one can be a prophet in his own land?
Yes. What's that got to do with anything?
Well, here am I, far from my own land.
What are these peculiar goods you're selling here?
Things that bring good luck. Or bad, if that's what's needed. What are you after? No, wait, don't tell me. I know just what your heart desires. I have here an amulet that will ensure your safety and your whole family's forever. Girls like you are always keen to have one.
Really? An amulet can do that?
Most assuredly. But unfortunately, I just sold the last one. However, I do have something even better.
What is it?
A map. Have you heard of the Scarlet's treasure?
Scarlet's treasure? No.
My dear child, you ought to ask your parents about it. Everyone knows about the Scarlet's treasure. But no one knows that I have a map to it.
Then why don't you dig it up yourself?
Me, a spiritual man? Please, I have no interest in worldly wealth. But you can have it for only a few groschen.
If it leads to treasure, as you say, how could I refuse? Is this enough?
Well, a little more and we'll call it a deal. Here you have it. Happy hunting!
Greetings!
How are things?
As always, the sun rose and I expect it'll set again, God willing. You're the miller's girl, aren't you?
That's me, Teresa.
I'm Julian, I'm a woodcutter. I don't think we've ever spoke before. Oh, you've got a lovely dog. What's his name?
We call him Tinker because he always pricks up his ears when he hears the rattle of pots and pans. Pa got him as a tiny pup from some executioner who has lots of dogs. Imagine, the executioner hadn't the heart to drown the pups. I suppose that's why he has so many dogs.
He's a fine fella. I'd love to have a dog like that to take on walks in the woods.
Try asking around the village. Someone might have one for you.
I asked the butcher. He's got a nice dog too. A good guard dog. Always barks at me when I go past. Only the butcher misunderstood what I was after.
How's that?
He thought I was after a dog for meat.
That's horrible. I'd never eat dog meat. Such lovely, useful animals.
Neither would I. Unless I was really starving. But there's plenty of folk who wouldn't think twice about it. I'm glad you stopped by for a chat. But I must get back to work now.
No sign of the blacksmith. Where can he be?
Good morning.
Father sent me to pick up nails, but there's no one at the forge.
Aye, sorry, lass. Martin had to go to the castle to talk to Sir Radzig. He's to forge a sword for his lordship.
Oh, I see. And has he made the nails for Pa?
I'm afraid he hasn't had time on account of that sword. But if you come tomorrow, he'll surely have them for you. I'll remind him this evening.
All right. I'll stop by tomorrow.
Do that, dear. Oh, and by the way, the girls were looking for you.
Which girls?
Bianca and Johanka. You should stop by and see them before you go home. You girls must be plotting something.
What was it about?
They didn't say, but it seemed important. Which probably means boys, I suppose, eh?
There's no harm in that, is there, good wife? You were young yourself once and went dancing with boys.
Oh, so I'm an old woman now, am I?
No, I didn't mean it like that.
I'm only teasing you, girl. Dancing is just what you young ones should be doing. Make the most of it while you can. Before you know it, your pa will find you a husband, and you'll have a pack of children to take care of.
Let's hope it's not too soon. Thanks for letting me know. I'll stop by tomorrow for those nails then.
Not at all. Oh, and another thing, Teresa. Have you seen Henry around anywhere? If he helped his father out more at the forge, there'd be no shortage of nails.
I haven't seen him at all.
No doubt he's at that swordplay with that so-called combat master again. If he could wield a hammer half as good as a wooden sword, there'd be no shortage of nails.
How are you getting on, neighbour?
What is it, Teresa? Did your father send you? Does he need me to count his groschen for him again?
What? Father wanted you to count groschen for him?
Yes, not long ago. Quite a pile he had too. I had to write it all down for him. I never knew the mill was that profitable.
That's interesting.
Bianca, how come you're up so bright and early?
Papa has me running around from dawn till dusk. You know how it is.
Indeed I do.
I'm glad you're here, Tess. You've got to help me with something. But first, can you go and see Henry for me? He's at the sheepfold by the stockade, as usual.
Oh? Playing around with wooden swords again?
Aye. He's getting ready for the life of a mighty warrior.
Well, at least we know he'll be able to protect you from outlaws with wooden swords.
Oh well, boys and their games. Listen, would you bring him a beer from me?
But why don't you bring it yourself?
If Pa saw me running after Henry, he'd tan my hide. But I can't leave him dry in this heat.
All right, I'll bring the beer to him.
Thanks. And don't forget to tell him it's from me.
Everyone knows all the beer in Skalitz is from you and your pa.
You know what I mean. And listen, Tess. Once you've given him the beer, come back to me again. Meanwhile, I'll make an excuse to Pa. I need you to go somewhere with me, but I'll tell you all about it after. Run along before the beer gets warm.
God be with you, Henry. Mind you don't get hurt.
Good day, Teresa.
I brought you a beer. I'd say you'd need it after a hard battle.
Ah, great. It's as hot as Pa's Forge out here today. That's very sweet of you to get me a beer.
Actually, Bianca sent it. Her pa doesn't want her to come here.
Ah, I see. I'll make it up to her this evening.
I don't want to know how. How come you're training on your own today? You're usually here with that vagabond. What's his name?
Vanyek. And he's not a vagabond. He's a wayfaring combat master.
Well, it looks like he's off wayfaring somewhere else today.
Yeah, more likely sleeping off last night's boozing. Actually, since I've no opponent today, wouldn't you like to have a go? I mean, a bit of swordplay. I could teach you.
Me? Swordplay?
Sure. Why not?
All right then. I accept your challenge, young sir. But I must warn you, I can swat a mouse with a broom with my eyes closed.
Yeah, I knew you had the heart of a warrior. Let's go then. Come on then. Show me what you're made of. Whoever is the first to hit the other 10 times is the victor.
What if I hurt you, though?
Ah, don't worry. I can handle it.
Don't go easy on me, Hal.
Ah, very good.
Henry, really? that is hardly chivalrous behavior. Now, I shall have to fight for my honor. Take that, you scoundrel! Are you alright?
It's nothing. I'm fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Are you mad at me?
No, of course not. It's my own stupid fault.
Well, that'll teach you to go around slapping decent, God-fearing girls on the backside. Let me have a look at it.
No, it's only a scratch and a couple of splinters. And I didn't mean to, you know.
Show me that.
No, really, it's nothing.
You know how it is, Hal. He who lives by the sword
Dies by the splinter, eh?
There now. By the way, you owe Bianca for that beer.